The following program is an opinion program. The opinions expressed by the hosts and guests of this program are not the opinions of the management, staff, and advertisers of this station. Please direct all criticism, concern, and adulation to the hosts of this program.
Welcome to Alabama Politics. This week, I am Dale Jackson. I'm a radio talk show, so you can hear my shows 5 until 9 a.m. on WVNN in Huntsville. With me, as always, Mecca Musick. She is the CEO of 256today.com Smart News for smart people. And our guest this week, Ed Nichols. He will join us. He is the superintendent of Madison City Schools, and we will talk with him about a bunch of things going on the education side in the legislature and stuff like that. Now, we got a lot to get into, and then I have a parting shot for you where we'll talk about a Maryland father, or he's like an MS-13 guy or something like that. I don't know. But we'll get into all of that. Right now, though, let's get to the 2-minute warning. You know, Becca, as I realize we start this segment, it's almost fitting that I can't remember the name of the guy we're about to talk about because, you know what? It doesn't even matter. And you know what? I didn't put the subject at the top, and I wouldn't have, but Mecca said to do so, so let's do this. Tommy Tuberville has an opponent, and I can't believe it. He is in big trouble. I'll tell you, the Democrats have an opponent for Tommy Tuberville, and it is some guy. And it's some guy who spoke at the DNC, a former Republican. I say all that stuff facetiously. Mecca, this is a sign here. There is a sign here. I think that this guy getting in so early, he anticipates other Democrats getting in. His name is like Kyle Sweetsner or something like that. But let's just call him that guy.
That guy.
And
okay.
he's running. He's a former Republican running as a Democrat. Here's
lifelong Republican.
I like that you did the quote.
Well, that's what he called himself. I mean, I don't know how do you prove that necessarily.
Right. No, he spoke at the DNC, and here's the thing. He branded himself as a lifelong Republican running as a Democrat. You know what Democrats love? Lifelong Republicans. They love them. And you know what Republicans love? Lifelong Republicans that become Democrats.
Okay.
So he's off to a great start here.
Well,
this is an AL.com campaign. That's who that's for. That's who it's for. That kind of framing is for AL.com.
The other complication in this whole plan for him to run against Tuberville for the Senate is there's a very high likelihood that Tuberville's not even going to be running for the Senate. He's going to be running for governor.
Right. This guy still doesn't matter in that case.
Well, so then does he run for governor? Does he just want to run against Tuberville?
No.
Or
This guy will run. This guy will stay in that race, and he'll go around and he'll do like the rubber chicken circuit amongst Democrats, and he'll say, "Well, I was in first," and then Doug Jones will pop up and say, "Who cares?" Yeah, and I say that kind of facetiously, but it's true. Someone's going to eventually come out not this guy and beat his brains in. I mean, and that's just the way it is on the Democratic side. They're going to put a heavy hitter up at some time, and someone's going to get in there.
Do you think it's going to be Doug Jones?
No.
Okay.
I mean, Doug Jones is too busy chasing that latest cable news hit. That's what he's trying to do. And he looks at the camera and he says, "Y'all," and they're like, "Oh my God, you're from Alabama, aren't you?" And he says, "Yeah, give me some money." There we go. That's where we're at. It doesn't matter. Let's move on. Now, let's talk about this RAISE Act and how they're funding schools, or at least starting to fund schools. I think this is an important piece of legislation. If you're a school choice supporter, you got to support this kind of stuff, where the money follows the student. In this case, I talked about this a little last week. The student gets followed if he is in poverty, or if he's special needs, or if he's gifted, or if he's English as a second language. And the money follows those individual students, at least for partial funding. Some states have gone to this entire model, and some states are doing this little hybrid model here. State Senator Arthur Orr, we had him on the show here recently. He's kind of spearheaded all of this. Becca, I like this. Now, the Alabama legislature also put some more money into the school choice stuff as well. This session as part of the education trust fund, and they're trying to because there's such a high demand for that, and that's happening all over the place. This is good.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing our guest opinion on it.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got an expert in the building, so I'm looking forward to what Dr. Nichols has to say about it. One of the arguments in favor of this was that the funding formula was 30 years old. It was outdated, and it needed to be updated. Now,
simply it was put, I'm sorry to interrupt, but simply put it was, you have a student, have some money.
No, because it was basically based on enrollment. It was based on enrollment numbers.
Didn't matter what the needs were.
Exactly. So this is more of a needs-based formula. And it could do a lot of good. I think we're still waiting for a lot of details on this, but it definitely looks like it's going all the way.
It's a little plus up for these different things where you have these students that have different needs. Like I said, the gifted gets 5%. I think if you're in poverty, it's 15. If your English as a second language, it's 20, or maybe that's vice versa. But special needs, 150%. I mean, these are the things. I think it's extreme special needs, but either way. But in that situation, you have these people that have more needs than the regular normal. I hate to say normal, but that's the way of looking at the average student. There's no nice way to say any of this, but the simple fact of the matter is,
no, there are. There is.
It's just not those.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the point is this: you want to have the money follow the students, and this is a good way to do this. Hopefully, we get a little more towards this system than what we're doing now, because just vomiting out money per student doesn't make any sense.
But if you look at the numbers, Alabama still pays thousands and thousands less per student than the national average.
Well, yeah, but here's your question. Do dollars equal success? I mean, it's a hard way. If you look at the numbers, the answer is no. I mean, we've pumped more money into the school system. Look at the Department of Education, defunding, and all that. It's hard to make the argument that X amount of dollars will raise your grades this much. So
I'm looking forward to talking to Dr. Nichols.
Okay, we'll continue that conversation. All right, let's talk about Democrat on Democrat violence. It's a civil war you hear about all the time. And I got to tell you, this is not good for them, in my opinion. David Hogue, he is one of the Parkland survivors. He is now the vice chair of the DNC, and he has decided to, I guess, spearhead a $20 million effort. At least he says this is a $20 million effort. I don't think he'll have trouble raising money to do this, to take on lazy, basically let's just say, excitable Democrats. So you're going to get rid of your safe Democrats, and you're going to put in place basically a bunch of AOCs. I like it. I'll tell you. So I ask, is he a savior, or is he a demon inside the tent? Because simple fact is, if he's successful in going to a primary and knocking off a bunch of establishment Democrats, they're going to lose those primaries.
And when you say establishment, we're talking about safe seats that are absolutely Democratic. But in his eyes, and I'm still not sure what the criteria is, they're not doing enough.
Well, maybe they didn't go down to El Salvador to try to get MS-13 members out so they can come back and beat their wives. That might have something to do with what he's talking about. You think I'm being facetious here? I'm not. Literally, the Democratic Party right now is excitable about the fact that a guy got put in a prison in El Salvador, and he's like the worst possible guy that they could go to. And if you look at who they're kind of framing their movement around right now, some guy that got kicked out of Colombia for supporting Hamas. And then you have this guy. That's the side this guy's on, the AOC and all these other people. Okay. The side that can't win in a purple district.
But back on to the topic that we're talking about, is it going to be effective, though? Or like you said, the civil war, we used to hear about that with the Republican Party. There's a civil war going on. What is this going to do to the Democratic Party on a national level? Will it excite people? There are numbers that are saying younger people are more engaged now in politics, and maybe he's trying to grasp on that. But there's not necessarily any age criteria to this leaders we deserve.
Yeah,
that's the
he's going to
David
learn
Hogg
that
group.
the internet ain't real life. I mean, the internet ain't real life. That's what he's going to learn, because he's lived his whole life on the internet. The real world doesn't operate that way. And by the way, if he's successful, Republicans better watch out, because you'll see something pop up on their side that does the exact same thing. I mean, you hear about all these upstart Republican, like Tea Party types and all these other things. That's an older reference. But these people who are on the right who challenge these guys, and they get destroyed. They get absolutely destroyed. And when they do win, they have harder races in the general election. And that's what you're going to end up with right there. All right, let's talk about the legislative fight. Oh, no. That damn calendar again. It just sneaks up on people. And now we're running out of time. And it looks like, at least this week, there was a lot of conversation about maybe slowing everything down, because you don't want to move forward too fast, because they're not doing our bills in the House, so we're not going to do their bills in the Senate. And I was talking with some legislators, and they said, look, if you look at the calendar, basically at this point, if you're going for new stuff that hasn't been through the other chamber, coming up on that little ledge there.
There's 7 days left of legislative days.
Right. So you have to get your stuff done. So now you might be only looking at stuff that's already passed the other chamber. So you got this back and forth. And if you're not moving my bill, well, maybe I don't move your bill. And those are Republicans fighting amongst themselves.
Yes.
And if you're Democrats, you're going, cool. I mean, that's okay. You guys have your fight.
But this does happen often.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of the ugly part of how the sausage is made, but it does happen relatively often, and that doesn't mean it's great. But honestly, these are like real people, and they get their feelings hurt that their bill's not moving forward, so they're just gonna, stop everything, filibuster, slow everything down. I would say leadership of both houses is more than capable of conducting the state's business within the time frame required.
Of course. And I jokingly say it's that calendar, that damn calendar, because you talk to these guys and they're just like, well, we ran out of days.
Yeah, because at the end of the session, every year there's like, we wanted this.
We wanted to do this, but we just ran out of the number of days to do it. I'm like, oh, did anyone tell you ahead of time, like what days you had left? I mean, did you go in one day and they're like, oh, sorry, we're closed? I don't think that's usually how it works.
But if this extends, there will be repercussions, and there will be plenty of
they start moving stuff.
angry.
Again, it's all about there are all these issues that hurt their feelings, as you said, like gambling. Hurt a lot of people's feelings.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, so if that hurt my feelings, maybe I don't move your bill
Exactly.
about annexing land on the lake in Colton.
And actually, I've had legislators tell me one of their most powerful tools is blocking something. Yeah, exactly, throwing a fit.
Yeah, it's my kid's most effective weapon too. So I mean, that's what else are they going to do? And that's not really an insult. That's just the way the world works.
It is.
Of course, that is actually an insult. So, all right, when we move forward, Ed Nichols will be with us. He is the superintendent of Madison City Schools. And we'll be right back right here on Alabama Politics This Week.
Fox 54 Plus is your streaming home for news from the world of sports. Join the Fox 54 sports team for local highlights and insights. Stream Fox 54 Sports Extra anytime on Fox 54 Plus. Live, local, and always on.
Every year in Alabama, we miss out on between $65 and $90 million in tax revenue by not legalizing sports betting here in our state. Money that can be used to improve our roads and bridges, or elevate our school systems and support our first responders. Contact your legislator to ensure sports betting is legalized in Alabama. Learn more at betonalabama.com.
You work hard to earn little escapes because doing your best means being your best. So let us help you discover your best at Premier Dental Spa. With our unique blend of cosmetic, dental, and spa-like aesthetic services, you'll leave feeling relaxed, refreshed, and renewed. Make sure the best you is here to stay and book your appointment online today at premierdentalspa.com.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for University Kia. This is my son Grant. He's a busy guy. Chess, piano, basketball, wrestling, baseball, you name it. There's probably some stuff that I missed that my wife will be mad about, but here's the thing. It's important to have reliable transportation. My friends at University Kia, they take great care of me. I've been driving Sportages my entire life. My wife drives a Telluride now, and it is the perfect vehicle for the busy family. Folks, University Kia, let them take care of you like they've taken care of my family. That's University Kia. Learn more at universitykia.com.
Tom, Grant and Dale Jackson sent you.
Attention! This is a public notice from the Social Security Disability Helpline. If you're one of the millions of Americans who are disabled and unable to work, you may be eligible for disability benefits from Social Security. Receiving benefits is your right. If you suffer from physical or mental disability, whether you're applying for the first time or you've already been denied, we can help. We'll evaluate your situation and deal with Social Security on your behalf. Best of all, there's no fee until you receive your benefits. Remember, we only get paid if you win your case. There are many reasons and conditions that may make you eligible for disability benefits. Many of them you may not be aware of. So if you're disabled and unable to work, call now to get started with your free, no-obligation consultation.
Call 877-744-0750. That's 877-744-0750. 877-744-0750.
What if this happened to you when you're alone? Or what if it happened here? With MedGuard Alert, you're never alone. You can connect with medical professionals anywhere, anytime. And now MedGuard is introducing our exclusive new Care Watch. If you need help quickly, use it from anywhere to contact medical professionals. No cell phone required. The Care Watch is not only a life-saving medical alert device, it's a revolutionary health monitoring system that checks your blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen saturation, maturation, and much more. And here's the best part. If you have Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. The Care Watch is only available through MedGuard Alert. Call us right now. We have monitoring programs starting as low as $1 a day. The call is free, activation is free, shipping is free, and no contract is required. Remember, with Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. Don't wait. Call us to get your Care Watch right now. Operators are standing by.
Welcome back to Alabama Politics This Week. I am Dale Jackson. With me, as always, Mecca Musick.
And our guest today is the Superintendent of Madison City Schools, Dr. Ed Nichols. Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure. Good to see you all.
Now, I want to get into the legislative business in a minute, but I first want to ask you about the Madison City School system. Now, it is consistently ranked among the best, if not the best, in the state. What makes this system so successful?
Well, not the superintendent. Trust me on that. It's great parents, highly motivated parents that want their kids to get a great education, and a community that wants to support that to happen, and great teachers and staff. And it takes all of those. And so I always tell people, if we were Nick Saban and we were recruiting, we've got 5-star parents, we've got a 5-star community, we've got 5-star teachers and administrators, and we got 5-star kids. We ought to be knocking the top out, because it takes that, folks. That these parents are focused on having their kids get the most out of their education. The teachers feel that way, and I believe that that's a successful formula that folks believed could happen 27 years ago when they started the school district.
I also want to ask you about the CHOOSE Act, Alabama's CHOOSE Act. A lot of public educators spoke out against this. It was enacted last year. It's Alabama's version of school choice. What are your thoughts on the CHOOSE Act?
Well, surprising people, I always say I'm not against the CHOOSE Act. And, I always tell people, I made a decision as a parent. I sent my daughter to Samford University. It's a private Baptist school. I don't remember anybody in the legislature giving me my portion of the Alabama-Auburn tuition money that I paid in taxes. But I do think that if we're going to give money, we ought to have accountability for that money, and that we ought to take the same test, and we ought to have the same criteria. And, if we're going to mandate things for the public school system now that money's going, maybe that mandate ought to be there. There's a recent mandate for buzzers for security in buildings. Are we not concerned about all children then? So I'm not against the CHOOSE Act. I'm not. I'm just for accountability. My 3rd grade teachers do the Literacy Act. If it's that important for 3rd graders to read that they passed a law, it ought to be that way for everything.
So let me ask you a question on this front. You talk about the similar testing and all these other things. The accountability is actually in this front going to come from the parents. And the first thing you said was parents in your school system are number one. They're the main drivers. And I would say that everything else flows down from that. And I think we agree on that. And I think with the private schools, you have the parents who are hyper motivated, and they're going to stay on top of their kids in most cases and stay in that case. That argument of accountability and the way you framed it, lost. My question is this. How much money are you thinking you guys are going to miss out on next year? What's going to be the difference when they start actually taking money out? Do you have any idea?
I don't think we'll lose out on any money, because that money's coming out of a different place.
Okay.
And so I don't foresee that we will lose any of that money.
Okay. Wasn't that one of the arguments as well, that it would drain the public school system?
I think there might be some places where that'll happen. I don't see that we'll have a great change in Madison City. I don't know how that will affect other school districts.
Because the concern is that, and I thought this was a bad part of this legislation, I sent my kid to a private school. There's zero reason why next year the state should start giving me money for that. I think they should have phased that out and said, basically, if you're going to a public school now and you switch to a private school next year, fine, we'll help you. But I don't think that they should take a bunch of kids to do it. But in Madison, obviously there are kids that go to private school that live there, and now they're going to be taking some resources out of your system. You are not worried about that.
No, I think we'll be fine. I think that folks understand in Madison the high level of academic success we've had.
Are y'all unique, do you think, in that situation?
No, I think around the state you're going to find 3 different areas. You're going to have areas like Madison, Mountain Brook, Homewood, Vestavia, Hoover, where they're not going to see a great change. Okay. You're going to have other areas where maybe you do see some students leave, but then you're also going to have places like Pickens County and Choctaw County and Greene County where it's not going to make any difference at all because there's no school to go to.
Okay.
I think that's three levels.
Okay. Very interesting.
All right, let's get to the current legislative session. The RAISE Act, okay, we talked about it earlier in the show. It changes the funding formula for schools. Now, we don't have all the answers about what this act is going to do. What are your general thoughts on it from what you understand at this point?
Well, I'm kind of with Dale. They got 7 days left, and I'm kind of excited about that. And I'm surprised that they didn't know they had that many days. But as an example, we don't get any funding from the state for special education. So we spend $1.7 million extra every year above what we get from the federal government to help our kids that have IEPs or need special assistance. So they're talking about giving pockets of that money based on the needs of students. We have 59 different languages in Madison City schools. Most people don't know that.
It shocks me. I might have like 8.
And it's a lot of languages from all over the world. So getting those extra funds to help pay for what we're already paying. We pay $600,000 now out of local tax money for English language learners. We pay about $600,000 for gifted. So if we can get any money to help us in that, then that frees up some of the local money that we're doing. And for us in Madison, we'll probably turn that money into brick and mortar because we're gaining 350 students a year, and that's a new school building every 3 to 4 years. So we've got to do some infrastructure growth. And you know, as you and I were talking, people talk about Space Command coming. I'm all for whatever shows up and lands on the planet, but we've got to have some money for bricks and mortar to address those families that are coming.
As we wrap up, I've got a question for you about these bills being passed by the Alabama legislature. A lot of it has been made of them. One of them says, Pledge of Allegiance, you're going to say it.
We do,
prayer,
every day.
A prayer, you're going to say it. Although it doesn't mandate it, the new versions of these bills say these are options. You guys are good with that? Any issues?
We do the pledge every day and have a moment of silence every day in Madison City.
So nothing changes?
Nothing changes.
See, I think that's how a lot of schools are. I have people tell me, we used to do that at my school. I said, yeah. And a lot of schools backed away from it, and now this is going to mandate that it comes
We do
back.
it every day.
There we go. I think that's pretty good answers all the way around. Thank you very much,
Thank
Dr. Ed Nichols with us. Mecca's on her way out. He's the superintendent of Madison City Schools, by the way. Mecca Musick on her way out as well, which means the parting shot is coming up and the show gets a lot better. Stay tuned.
Fox 54 Plus is your streaming home for news from the world of sports. Join the Fox 54 sports team for local highlights and insights. Stream Fox 54 Sports Extra anytime on Fox 54 Plus. Live, local, and always on.
Every year in Alabama, we miss out on between $65 and $90 million in tax revenue by not legalizing sports betting here in our state. Money that can be used to improve our roads and bridges, or elevate our school systems and support our first responders. Contact your legislator to ensure sports betting is legalized in Alabama. Learn more at betonalabama.com.
You work hard to earn little escapes because doing your best means being your best. So let us help you discover your best at Premier Dental Spa. With our unique blend of cosmetic, dental, and spa-like aesthetic services, you'll leave feeling relaxed, refreshed, and renewed. Make sure the best you is here to stay and book your appointment online today at premierdentalspa.com.
Hey folks, Dale Jackson here for University Kia. This is my son Grant. He's a busy guy. Chess, piano, basketball, wrestling, baseball, you name it. There's probably some stuff that I missed that my wife will be mad about, but here's the thing. It's important to have reliable transportation. My friends at University Kia, they take great care of me. I've been driving Sportages my entire life. My wife drives a Telluride now, and it is the perfect vehicle for the busy family. Folks, University Kia, let them take care of you like they've taken care of my family. That's University Kia. Learn more at universitykia.com.
Tom, Grant and Dale Jackson sent you.
Attention! This is a public notice from the Social Security Disability Helpline. If you're one of the millions of Americans who are disabled and unable to work, you may be eligible for disability benefits from Social Security. Receiving benefits is your right. If you suffer from physical or mental disability, whether you're applying for the first time or you've already been denied, we can help. We'll evaluate your situation and deal with Social Security on your behalf. Best of all, there's no fee until you receive your benefits. Remember, we only get paid if you win your case. There are many reasons and conditions that may make you eligible for disability benefits. Many of them you may not be aware of. So if you're disabled and unable to work, call now to get started with your free, no-obligation consultation.
Call 877-744-0750. That's 877-744-0750. 877-744-0750.
What if this happened to you when you're alone? Or what if it happened here? With MedGuard Alert, you're never alone. You can connect with medical professionals anywhere, anytime. And now MedGuard is introducing our exclusive new Care Watch. If you need help quickly, use it from anywhere to contact medical professionals. No cell phone required. The Care Watch is not only a life-saving medical alert device, it's a revolutionary health monitoring system that checks your blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen saturation, and much more. And here's the best part. If you have Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. The Care Watch is only available through MedGuard Alert. Call us right now. We have monitoring programs starting as low as $1 a day. The call is free, activation is free, shipping is free, and no contract is required. Remember, with Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. Don't wait. Call us to get your Care Watch right now. Operators are standing by.
Welcome back to Alabama Politics This Week. I am Dale Jackson. We'll get to the parting shot here in just 1 second. But before I do, let me remind you, head on over to yellowhammernews.com right now. Sign up for my 7 things, and you'll get 7 things you should be talking about every single day delivered right to your email inbox. That website again, yellowhammernews.com. Right now, let's go ahead and get to the parting shot. My parting shot this week is directed at anyone that is even considering heading on down to El Salvador to get an individual out of a prison. The senator from Maryland, Chris Van Hollen, decided that this was one of his constituents, which of course he is not, because the person in that prison is an illegal alien. And they cannot vote in the United States, and they are not a citizen of the United States. But either way, he went down there and tried to get him out. They would not let him talk to the vice president. They would not let him talk to the president. They would not let him in the prison, and there is a good reason for that. Now, the thing I don't understand about this is, why is this the guy? Is this the best possible guy you could talk about? Now, we've heard how he's a Maryland father and all these other things, but he is also an MS-13 member. 2 judges have decided as such. You also have a case where you're looking at his wife suggested that he was a wife beater as well early on in their relationship. He has a code name for the gang and a rank in the gang as well. He was picked up with MS-13 members wearing their colors. Now, all these things tell you the obvious, that he is not a Maryland father. He is an MS-13 gang member, and now you are having some second thoughts by some Democrats, not the ones who are going down to get him out in El Salvador, but those who are trying to say they shouldn't have voted for the Laken Riley Act, and they have to resist this even further. Look, this is one of those issues, 80-20 issues. You tell the American people who this guy is and what he's been up to, and the American people will say, good, I'm glad he's gone in El Salvador. You can have your conversations about due process and all these other things. You can do that if you want. But the guy's a gangbanger, you're going to lose that argument. It doesn't make any sense to even be going down this path. So they need to be a little smarter about that. But I hope they're not. Thank you very much for watching and listening to Alabama Politics This Week.
What if this happened to you when you're alone? Or what if it happened here? With MedGuard Alert, you're never alone. You can connect with medical professionals anywhere, anytime. And now MedGuard is introducing our exclusive new Care Watch. If you need help quickly, use it from anywhere to contact medical professionals. No cell phone required. The Care Watch is not only a life-saving medical alert device, it's a revolutionary health monitoring system that checks your blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen saturation, and much more. And here's the best part. If you have Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. The Care Watch is only available through MedGuard Alert. Call us right now. We have monitoring programs starting as low as $1 a day. The call is free, activation is free, shipping is free, and no contract is required. Remember, with Medicaid, you may qualify to get your Care Watch for free. Don't wait. Call us to get your Care Watch right now. Operators are standing by. What if you could make a free phone call and reduce your car payment by as much as $83 a month? Right now, you could be paying as high as 20% interest. Your new interest rate could be reduced to as low as 2.48%. You can refinance any existing car loan or leased car and save money every month. Take 5 minutes of your time right now. Make this free phone call and learn how to save hundreds of dollars a year by refinancing your existing car loan.